Welcome back, everyone. And because this is going to be a bit of a shit video, as we're discussing a 4-0 loss against PSG, and there's going to be a lot of moaning and complaining, I thought we'd start off on a more positive tone.
Baby, won't you tell me what you're trying to do?
So that, my lovely people, is one of England's greatest bands. They're called Free. I'm hoping I'm not going to get any copyright claims. I'm going to try and sneak a few clips in here without anyone noticing. I'd love to just play hours and hours of music on this channel, but I don't think I'll get away with it. I wish we could just talk about music all the time because it never lets you down. Music, it doesn't give you heartbreak unless you want to listen to all that mopey, depressive kind of music. I love rock music, and I'd love to chat about music on here. But I know you came here for football conversations, so I won't go on anymore. But you should check out the band Free. You'll probably know the song "All Right Now." That's their biggest, most famous song, but they've got many other classic songs. So in this video then, I do want to discuss the PSG game, the mess of the other day, but I also want to look bigger picture. I want to look into next season, maybe discuss some of the problems that I think Xavi is going to encounter next season, try and offer some solutions. I don't really just believe in criticizing all the time if you're not going to offer a solution. It's sometimes easy to point out the negatives. But if you say, for example, we shouldn't play this formation or we shouldn't pick this player, then you should also offer, okay, well, what player are we going to play and what formation should we play? So I want to get into that a little bit. And it's been an interesting 48 hours, I think we're a little over 2 days now as I'm recording this video, in terms of the rumours and the noise that's come out of the club since the PSG game. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And yeah, it's probably not going to be the funnest, optimistic video that I've ever made, but we lost 4-0, so, what are you expecting? The first thing I want to say, though, is just how good PSG are. I mean, I'm not a fan of pretty much anything that comes out of Barcelona. The only two Barcelona players that I've ever really... Okay, I guess there's three Barcelona players in history that I've ever really had time for and kind of like, and that is Iniesta and Puyol, because I just found them very honest players. And Ronaldinho, of course, because if you like football, you can't not like Ronaldinho. But pretty much every other player that's played for Barcelona, I don't like. However, Luis Enrique, it's difficult not to like him as well. He's a personality, he's got character, and what an amazing job he's doing at PSG. I mean, he's got Dembele looking like a striker. I mean, we're struggling at the moment to turn Mbappe into a striker, and yet Dembele, who is really a wide player, he just looks like a classic number 9. And not just in his positioning and the way he links up, his pressing as well. He's got his whole team running, pressing. Yeah, I'm a bit jealous, I would say. So onto the Madrid side of things now, and there was a few things in this game that I didn't like, obviously, apart from the score. The first thing is Valverde. I am tired of seeing Valverde at right back. Obviously, now that we've got Trent, hopefully we're not going to see much of it next season. It was very unfortunate that Trent wasn't available to play in this game, and that Carvajal had only 20 minutes in him. But I'm really hoping we're not going to have to see Valverde play much of right back. Not because I think he's not a very good right back. He does a fantastic job for us at right back, but we just miss him so much in midfield. We miss his energy, and yeah, that's the first thing that I wanted to say. The second thing I want to point out is, and I'm not putting any blame on him because there's a lot more senior players that should take more blame than him, but Gonzalo Garcia, I thought he got a little bit found out in this game, and maybe he was a bit nervous, or maybe the pressure got to him, maybe the fact that we were 2-0 down after 10 minutes really put a lot of pressure on him, but I felt he was a little bit rushed with his touches. He wasn't controlling the ball very well. He was flicking balls on and to no one, and he lost possession quite a few times, so maybe we saw a little bit of... we all got carried away with how good he is at the moment, I think, in this tournament because he surprised us. But I think he's not quite there yet to be starting, week in, week out for us. Now, I'm sure even he wouldn't have anticipated playing so many games as well. So he might have just been a bit tired, a bit fatigued. I'm still very excited to see how he's going to do next season, trust me. And now moving on to the formation, this is the next thing I want to talk about because... the lineup we played yesterday, I think we're not going to see again, certainly against a team like PSG going into next season. We had, as far as I'm concerned, 4 attacking players yesterday. We had the front three, Vini, Mbappe and Gonzalo Garcia, plus Bellingham on the pitch. I think Xavi's learnt that now, that he's not going to be able to play that anymore. So if he is going to be playing Vini and Mbappe, how are we going to fit them into a formation? And I've come up with a few possible solutions. So let me share my screen here. Now, as you can see, then I've got the starting lineup here against PSG. I've got Gonzalo Garcia on the right. He did originally start as the number 9, and then as things went tits up, he changed things around. It was a very fluid move in front three. Gonzalo moved to the right. Vini and Mbappe kind of traded places with each other, but you get the idea. Now, let's say hypothetically, Vini and Mbappe have to start. I don't personally know if that is our best starting lineup, having those two in it, but let's just say it is. What could we do to make this a more rounded team? So here's my first example. Now, I'm aware Alonso didn't have the luxury of having all these players available because, of course, my teams are going to look better now that Hoyson's back in the team here. We've got an actual natural right back available, so Valverde can play in his natural position. I know Alonso didn't have all these options for the PSG game, but I really like this formation. This is basically the formation we played in Bellingham's first season. It really gets the best out of Bellingham in this formation. I'm not too worried about the lack of width in this team because it does look a little bit narrow. Because first of all, the fullbacks we've got Trent being able to bomb forward here because Valverde can cover for him at right back if needed. And Fran Garcia's biggest strength is his engine and his ability to get up and down the wing. So we will get width provided from those guys. And also Mbappe and Vini will be able to naturally drift wide in this setup because Bellingham will be there to make late runs into the box, to play as a kind of a false 9, if you like. So I'm not too worried about the lack of width in this team. And I think this formation really gets everyone playing in their best position. It will get the best out of Bellingham. Gula is going to be able to play in the centre of midfield, so he can be on the ball a lot. Valverde's in his natural position. Chouameni's in his hybrid kind of third centre back slash CDM role. I think this is I don't see too many flaws with this setup. This next team is the most radical, and I don't think it's going to happen, so I don't want to waste too much time on it because Bellingham's not in this starting lineup, but the best centrocampista that we have at the moment in the team for dictating tempo and controlling the ball, now that Kroos has gone and Modric has gone, I think is Ceballos. So if you want a balanced team, you want to play Vini in his best position, or you can obviously alternate and Mbappe can play on the left wing. I think is this formation because it's got the midfield there has a perfect balance of defensive solidity, the pace and power of line breaking Fede Valverde, the control of Dani Ceballos. I think this is a balanced team. I'm not quite sure who I'd play on that right wing because I think Brahim Diaz might be a bit better suited to a right wing role than Gula, but I would let those two fight each other out. Because it's a 4-3-3, I tend to like to have more defensively solid right backs in a 4-3-3. This is why I would pick Carvajal over Trent. But yeah, to me, this is a very balanced team. Is it going to happen? Bellingham on the bench? Probably not. Now, the next team I really like because it includes one of maybe the forgotten players of our team because he was injured so much last season and he's currently injured at the moment, and that is, of course, Camavinga. He's one of my favourite players in the team, Camavinga. I don't think I've ever seen a player be able to stretch their legs and win the ball back as much as Camavinga does. His elasticity, I'm going to use that word, to make slide tackles and to nick the ball off of an opponent so effortlessly, it's very impressive the way he can win the ball back. And on the ball, he dribbles so well, he moves the ball so well. The only thing he really lacks is a little bit of finesse around the attacking area. You know, his killer pass, his shooting. But as an all-round player, I think he's such a fantastic addition to the midfield here. And obviously, Fede Valverde's got to be in this team. I know it's not ideal to have him play at right wing back, but it would allow him to at least attack more than when he does playing at right back. And yeah, it's got Bellingham in his natural position. I quite like this group of players. I have to say, I'd be curious to see how this team works. But obviously, it does mean you're literally leaving two of the best right backs in the world on the bench. So that's not ideal either. So as you can see, this ain't going to be easy for Xavi. And for continuity reasons, I should probably address, yes, I am wearing a different t-shirt and it is light now because I started recording this Friday night. And then after an hour or so, I was like, am I going to spend all night in talking to a camera? Let's go out for some drinks. We'll continue now. The point of that exercise last night with the hypothetical lineups was to show that it's really difficult to try and fit both Vini and Mbappe into a team whilst pleasing all the other players in the team. I think what it really shows is our squad is a bit unbalanced, and I'm not quite sure what the best answer is. Now, if we're going to have to choose between one of Vini and Mbappe, that's really difficult. And that's a whole video I could probably do on that because they both have got their strengths, their weaknesses. I think Vini gets a little bit unfairly lumped in with Mbappe in terms of being lazy and not defending because I think Vinicius does defend. I think he does track back. And I think his numbers would back me up in that, in saying that. He's not a pressing machine. He's not a monster, but he's certainly not lazy. Whereas Mbappe is quite lazy when he's not on the ball. However, offensively, if you're going to back one of them to score you 40 goals a season, it's Mbappe for sure. Vinicius over the last 12 months has been pretty inconsistent. He still has great games like he did in the Club World Cup. But when he's not having a good game, he's often a negative to the team, I think, because he spends a lot of the time arguing with refs, with opposing players. So it's a difficult one, but I think I can't see any other way that halfway through next season this is not a discussion that we're having, especially in these two will be more than good enough against 80% of teams, but in the knockout stages of Champions League games, this is going to be a decision that needs to be made, I think. Now, after a loss like that, there's always rumours and the media go into overdrive in the Real Madrid universe. You never quite know what's true and what's not. But one rumour that I heard quite a lot, and that was repeated by different journalists and different newspapers, was this. And I've got the quote written down here. It says, Real Madrid have now informed Xabi Alonso that they will back him no matter what decision he makes, and that the club believe that there is an ego problem in the team, and Alonso is going to sit down with the players and discuss and basically find out which players are with him and which players are not going to buy into the system that he wants to play. So that's really promising. I like that because we have lost a lot of leaders over the last few seasons, from Ramos and Benzema and Marcelo and Modric and Cruz. So we've got a lot of young players in there now, and we need some leaders. Carvajal and Valverde have got really big seasons ahead of them, I think, being the leaders of this team now. So that's positive, I think. So then, to summarize, because I realize this video is getting on a little bit now, and whilst I could keep talking about this, I don't know how many people would rejoice at that news. So I'll spare you all now. I am There's still a lot of positives to take. We've got a very young team. We've got some very promising players, and I think the transfer market distracted me a little bit because I thought we did great business in this transfer window, and it got me excited. And I can already see a difference in the play style under Xabi Alonso. However, what this loss did do is remind me of last season, and against the top teams, against Arsenal, against Barcelona, even Atletico, we just looked off of it. We didn't look like we could compete in some of those games. And I really want Xabi Alonso to do well. So I hope we don't get humiliated next season in any of those games. But yeah, it's still there's still a long work to go for Xabi Alonso. But thanks for watching, everyone. I will always respond to any comments that you guys leave, and I will see you soon in another video. Hasta luego, chicos. Ciao, ciao.